Okay, and welcome back to another episode of the Saucy Boys.
Saucy.
I go by the name of Chaku,
Mike Stokes, baby.
and we are back for a new week.
Another mellow week. Another mellow chill week. What is it? Did you put on Kick-Ass?
I did.
Oh, I haven't seen Kick-Ass in so long. Movie with the sound off, Kick-Ass.
Oh shit! Sorry, making all this noise. But yeah, so new week, new drink, and since we are in the month of March, and it is Women's History Month, to kick it off, I decided to go with Skrewball.
Where'd you get these glasses from?
Interesting story. I'll get into that after I talk about the Screw Busy.
Okay.
All right, so if for those of y'all who don't know, Skrewball is a peanut butter flavored whiskey, and it is partially woman owned. The lady that I guess started this, she started with her husband, and she's a lawyer, and she concocted the recipe for this special drink. So
Contains peanuts.
it does contain peanuts. It's cool because, like, in the back of this thing, like on the label, it has like something on it. But I gotta finish the bottle to see.
Oh, the label's on the back of it. See, like, the ingredients and shit.
Nah, it's like there's a. See on the inside.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I gotta finish this to read it. But yeah, so we're doing a Skrewball. So if you are a peanut butter
enthusiast
or fanatic, then Skrewball is for you. I've had it before, and it's pretty good. So what I did was I decided to try. Whiskey is like my favorite drink, or one of my favorite drinks, right? So I tend to go.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, when I'm DJing, it's tequila. But whenever I'm just chilling and sipping, it's gonna be the whiskey. But with that being said, I decided to try a old fashioned recipe. So what I did was I did about an ounce of the Skrewball, and then an ounce of the Bib and Tucker, and then some bitters, cherry for garnish, a little bit of orange in there. So yeah, try it out, see what it tastes like, see what it's hitting like.
Okay. Let me get into this.
So cheers, clink clink.
That peanut butter comes in on the back half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. There's no bite. There's nothing, man. You just get peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? It tastes like a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah, I like a Reese's cup.
Yeah, I didn't want to say a Reese's cup because I think Reese's is more peanut buttery.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, you know what I'm saying?
I think what I need to do for the next one though is to kind of lighten up the peanut butter taste, or like the sweet side of it. Maybe add some more of the Bib and Tucker. They said to use rye, but I decided to go with the Scotch whiskey just because I didn't have rye, and I wanted to see what it tastes like with that. So yeah,
I fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind it the way it is. So I don't want to be like the counterculture or whatnot, but keep the recipe the same way. But really though, where'd you get these glasses from? That's what I need to find out.
So why are you so intrigued by these glasses?
Oh, because they're like the perfect whiskey drinking glasses, honestly.
So
it's like I want to say it came with goddamn it, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it probably came with one of those like crystal glass things that you pour whiskey in with, and it just came.
Is it a decanter?
There we go.
Yeah. So me being a San Antonio native. I've been here long enough to say that, I guess. Yeah. So me being a San Antonio native, I like to support people around me and help my community. And so there's a local liquor store that's right across the street.
That one, the Fiesta?
Yeah.
Liquor Mart?
I think it's Fiesta.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided, I was like, fuck going to Specs. It's like, and on top of that, it was too far.
I've been there.
So I popped in there and they had some shit.
No, they do.
And then I was like, first of all, they had Nuvo.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that shit on the shelf. And I don't know how long. And I was telling you, I was like, yo, do they even make this shit anymore? Like, is it discontinued? Like, who knows?
For those of y'all who don't know, Nuvo was that drink that T-Pain way back in the day used to always be.
I guess the hype around it was like the first sparkling like liquor.
Yeah. It was in all the videos. It was all the videos.
Before y'all had y'all what are the fucking what are they called?
The Locos?
Nah.
Oh, the seltzers?
Yeah, before y'all had the seltzers.
Long before seltzers.
Women were drinking Nuvo. Sorry, I had a brain fart, but yeah. So yeah, I walked in there and kind of looked around and shit, and I seen these glasses. And I was like, hey, well, you know, I do need new glassware. But it's funny because I think where these came from was probably like gift sets that they had from before. Yeah. And they just broke it down, and so now they're selling the glasses individually. It was only $1 for the glass. So I was like, all right, fuck it.
WR. Something Reserve. Woodford Reserve.
Woodford Reserve.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So
that's nice. That's nice. But yeah. I got so for Christmas my mom gave me a Crown gift set. And normally she always just gets me like not the 750 liter, but just I think it's the liter. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was that. And then for Super Bowl, I finally opened it up to drink some of it. And it's the fucking handle, dog.
It's the big bitch?
Like, yeah, it's the big fucker. It's the big fucking handle one. But it comes with 2 glasses also that are just like this. Yeah. Similar, but they just got the Crown crest on it. So I'll be sipping on those when I'm at the crib every now and then. But it's just the way it just perfectly, you know, the perfect symmetry of glass to hand ratio with my Bevy. That's why I like these type of glasses so much. That's why I was so intrigued when you had it and you put it down. I was like, oh, that's a whiskey glass. Like,
see, here at Casa de Chacu, we like to provide an experience.
It's an experience.
It's an experience.
It's not just a drink.
It's an experience when you come to Casa de Chacu. All right.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, no doubt.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's funny because I used to work at the shop at on base, right? Yeah. And so like during the holidays, they would sell like all the gift sets or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have liquor reps come in and like close to the end of the like season or whatever, they like break shit down, and they would always give me like flasks and like free glasses and all kinds of shit. So
that's dope as shit. Hey, here's something since we got like an open slot, we can bullshit around. I got a question for you because we always bring up jobs we used to work at. What was your worst job you used to have? Like that you would say is possibly like the worst job you had? Damn. The one you hated the most. Or just the weirdest job you worked.
I've had a lot of interesting. You know, it's crazy though. So like my work history is like I've been pretty good at keeping jobs.
Yeah, me too.
Like progressing within those jobs. So, I came here from New Mexico one time during spring break, and instead of like enjoying my spring break like a normal person, I decided to get a job. Because at the time I was trying to buy a car because I was in high school.
Yeah.
My dad was like, well, if you want a car, like, you give me half. And then he's like, I'll pay for the other half.
Oh, that bullshit lie.
I was like, all right, bet.
I fell for that too.
So I came down here. And mind you, these niggas went to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
I passed up on Universal Studios to work a job during spring break for like the 2 weeks that I was here. So I ended up working at this one place for like a week. It was called Manco. And it's over there off of 3009 behind that Walmart. And they make the concrete walls and barriers for like buildings and highways and shit.
That's why the name seems so familiar.
And so I worked there for a week, and it's like 13 hours a fucking day.
God damn.
It's a long day. We were there from like 5 in the morning to like just late.
Get a nice little $1,000 paycheck.
And mind, actually, the money was really good. And it was a lot of money for me because, mind you, I'm a fucking teenager. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, so, long story short, we was working there during spring break, and it was so fucking hot. It was so hot. And, you know, shout out to all the dudes that, like, do that shit as, like, a regular job because that shit is hard.
Yeah.
And the amount of awareness that you have to have in those jobs and those positions is crazy because you could fucking die.
Yeah. Nah, it's
easily.
True. It's true.
Easily. I would have been one-armed Chaku if I wasn't quick. I was on a fucking flatbed, 12 feet in the fucking air between two cement slabs. And these slabs were gonna go on the front of like a Macy's because they were building a mall somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were gonna go up on like the front of the Macy's. And so what we had to do is we had to lay these fucking 12 feet walls, and they're fucking like long as a flatbed.
Yeah.
Of like a semi truck. And so I'm on the top of it trying to guide it in, and I have my arm like in between it because we're trying to get it on like the little thingamabobs. I forgot what the fuck they're called. And I'm sitting on top of it, and the fucking stand that it sits on, it shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And it fucking starts going like this.
Oh, fuck.
And I just pull my arm out. If I would have been a second late, that shit would have pinched my arm in between the walls, and I would have been missing an arm.
There goes that DJ career.
But it was like doing that, and then we had to load like concrete like pieces from like the highway whenever they build highways.
Mm-hmm.
We have to like put these big ass like wooden 2x4s like under each leg of these things. It was just
shit.
Yeah.
That's wild because like the first 10 years for me after high school were all like manual labor jobs.
Yeah.
So like I became so desensitized to how like dangerous shit was, and just not even thinking about it every day, because I mean if you do, that's how you have the accident.
Yeah.
But it's just like the amount of danger that I was around on a daily basis, I just didn't even,
which is
could
crazy,
never comprehend, because I was just like, yeah, whatever.
And I think that's what like pisses me off about like some jobs that I work now, because there's so many people that complain about like the most minimal shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, you wouldn't last an hour doing what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, before I got to this job. And I mean, you know, luckily like now I don't have to work those jobs, so I'm like grateful for that. But for the dudes that like do that shit, like they're around fucking heavy equipment and just shit that can end their life like that.
Yeah.
And,
all the time.
And they do their job with ease, and it just I mean, you don't even think about like the danger.
Just simple shit. Like
Yeah.
I remember working in a warehouse, and we had those electric pallet jacks.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a steel toe environment, but when you get comfortable, you guys lax up, and we're just like, fuck it, we'll wear sneakers to work or whatnot. And the one day where I almost wore sneakers to work, I accidentally rolled that fucking that pallet jack back on my foot. And literally the only thing stopping that shit from crushing my foot was the steel toe plate in my boot.
Yep.
And I was just like, God damn. Lucky, so glad I decided to put these on today, because I was really about like, it's Friday, who gives a fuck, I'm gonna put my sneakers on and shit. And it's like, that's just the mentality in those work environments. For me, I remember I worked at Ashley's Furniture, their distribution center, for like 1 week, and because like the only experience I had working prior to that was I did a summer hire job with my buddy, whose dad oversaw like the recycling program on Randolph on the Air Force Base. They saw that, and they were just like, oh, okay, we'll put you in like the disposal section. And I was just like, what? Like, I mean, I don't want to work there. And he's like, well, that's all the experience you got, so we'll put you there. And I think I was only making like $7.50 an hour. It was stupid. And it's like, it's the one part of the warehouse that's not covered, because it's outside. Yeah. Because that's where the trash compactor and all that shit's at.
Fuck that.
So it's like, yeah, they fucking wanted you to stay out there for an 8-hour shift in the middle of Texas summer.
Yeah, and it'd be hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Like there was so many times working at that spot, like I was like lightheaded and was like, yo, I was like, I'm gonna fucking die of heat stroke.
I remember staying out there all that time, and then like when you get like packages and shit in, they got like that neoprone wrapping and shit on it. So it's like when you're dealing with that shit in like 100-degree weather, it's hot too. Yeah. So it's like you'd be like balling all the wraps up and throwing them into the compactor and shit. And then there was the dude who was training me. He didn't speak English, and at least I don't think he spoke English, because he just he thought everyone was going for his job. So he would just cuss at me and yell at me in Spanish. Bro. And I like couldn't say nothing back to him. Like every day, like he like grabbed me like, you're doing this wrong, and just cuss me out. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, bro. Like, how are you the guy running this, but you won't like tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, or like make an effort to like speak to me, or like there's no common ground. Yeah. But like I put up with it for a week, and then I remember I left like he yelled at me like one last time. I was like, man, fuck this. And I just walked off. And like when I was leaving, security was like, are you quitting? And I was just like, yeah, fuck this place. And I threw my thing at him. And they're like, what section were you in? I was like, the disposal section. He was like, oh, the guy's name was Skrewball. They were like, oh, Skrewball. He did it again. Like he like had like a rank, like a number of people he's run off. And then like I remember they made me do like an exit interview. And they were like, so what went wrong? Why did you like? They called me back a week later and it was like, what went wrong? Why didn't you like it? And that was the thing I told them. I was like, look, it's all fun and games till someone has a fucking heat stroke. Yeah. Like y'all had me outside for an 8-hour shift with no sun coverage, the sun just beaming on top of me, and you expect someone to be okay? Like, like no matter how much water I drank, like I always left work with a fucking headache that whole week, and it was bullshit. But that was probably the worst job I ever fucking had. The weirdest one was I used to work for this place called Got Junk. 1-800 Got Junk. Now, at the time that I worked there, this is like 06, 07, 08. It wasn't a big, like the company, the idea of this company wasn't like a big grandiose thing. Yeah. Now, if you drive around, you'll see like 30 different competitors and knockoffs of the original one, which is what I started doing. Like you'll see like College Hunks Move Junk. Yeah, I've seen all that. There's like, there's a whole bunch of them out there that have just like jacked the whole business plan and they do it. But essentially, all we were glorified trash men. Like you called us out and you had some shit in your garage. You wanted your garage cleaned out. Call us out. We'll charge you by how much it fills up the truck, and then we'll tell you we get rid of it safely. All we did was just take the shit to the city dump and dump it. But if there was good shit in there, we just take it home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a TV from that because some rich person in Alamo Heights was like, yeah, I don't want this TV no more. And I was like, fuck it.
Bet.
And I was like, all right, cool. Money. Hey, let's make a detour at my crib.
Let me hold that.
Yeah, I was just like, fuck yeah. So I got like a TV from it. But like the funniest part about it was like, God, statute of limitations. You know how much weed we smoked on that fucking job? Like we were bringing our stashes with us. We were rolling up in the truck, and like whenever we didn't have like jobs to do, our boss wanted us to do these things called waves. We're like, because the truck was like, it's a giant billboard. Yeah. It's everything you need. So it's like park the truck on like a corner or something like that of a busy intersection. So people can see that shit. Yeah, and it's like get out with your signs and just wave. Oh, we had to wear these stupid blue wigs. And we'd be out there doing that, but we'd be holding a blunt behind the sign. And we'd be passing it back and forth to each other, just getting high and shit.
Oh, you high as shit out there fucking.
So we smoked so much fucking weed on that job. That shit was great,
y'all
bro.
Niggas got junk.
Yeah. Oh, got the junk, bitch. Yeah.
That shit's funny.
Yeah. That was probably the weirdest one I ever did.
I can't think of like if I've had like any like weird jobs. I think that's probably been like the weirdest. Let me see. So I was a bagger. Commissary. I feel like every military kid did that.
Yeah, I think I was like the only one who didn't do that.
McDonald's, Subway. Yeah, it's my shit. It's weird. I don't know. I gotta get them to come fix
I was about to ask if Loaf was here.
Yeah, nah.
It sounds like he's eating food.
Shop at, and then YP, and then DJ.
YP
I guess that's like a job
Moving on now.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. You know, I've only had like a handful of jobs. And nothing. And you know what though? Like I hate places like that where like how you had to deal with that dude, and it's like, how come that motherfucker hasn't been fired, man?
Exactly.
Like, if that's his job to like run people off. Or like, you know, niggas like that just try to play like gatekeeper and shit. Like, oh, I started this and like I'm gonna protect my shit and try to run everybody out of here with my shitty attitude.
My thing is stupid because they keep bringing more people in, so it's just like you got to be wasting a shitload of money doing this.
Because you got to train people. Yeah. And then like the hours you spend training somebody, it's like they quit the next week. Because I guess that's why they have like the probationary period.
Yeah, because we still had to sit through orientation and all that shit. Like new hire orientation, all of it. So it's like you're still paying for all the stuff that I have to look like, the guidelines. I'm still signing up for health insurance and all that shit.
Only for me to work there for a week.
Yeah, like it's fucking dumb, dog. Like it made no fucking sense. And I don't know whatever happened to that guy. Hopefully he made off well or whatnot, but it was stupid. I remember I had like a buddy like who worked there also. He like joined the second day. And like he like got so mad that I left. He was a bit older than me. He was like in his mid to late 20s at the time. Yeah. And like I remember he called me. He's like, man, you can't quit jobs if you don't have something else lined up. I was like, bro, you got me confused. I'm not I'm not gonna be working there. Like, I never thought that was a long term thing.
I'm not a lifer.
Like, yeah, bro, that was for the summer, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know you got like a family and shit, but you can't leave. But it's like, dog, I had to leave. I can't.
Like when I worked at McDonald's, and I used to get into it with one of these managers. This one manager, so he was like a regular employee like me, and then once he made manager, he just turned into a fucking douche. And he was popping shit with me one day. I was in the back, and one of the like people online was like, "What, are you deaf?" And I just said some shit like, "Huh?" Like, I can't. And he was like, "You shouldn't make fun of deaf people." I'm like,
Huh?
I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Excuse me? Did I make fun of somebody?
I looked at him. I was like, "Robert," I was like, "Don't let that blue shirt get you fucked up." And he was like, "Oh," he's like, "You can't talk to me." Like, I was like, "I talk to you however the fuck I want to talk to you."
Making a threat, bro.
I was like, "Yo, if I was like, you talking about it," I was like, "We can go out back. I'll beat that ass." Right?
See, this is back in the day when people didn't take that shit personally, yo.
Yeah.
Like, you can just drop that shit and it's just like all shits and giggles until like fists are actually thrown.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious that you got that off, man. Because if you look at it in like 2022 perspective, that motherfucker probably would have pulled out the phone, recorded that shit, called the cops.
But
some dumb
like
shit.
he instigated the whole shit, and then when he seen me get pissed off, he thought he was like, "Oh, well, I'm the manager. Like, this nigga's not gonna do nothing."
Yeah.
Man, I flew around that fucking line table so quick. I had two other managers like, "Yo, like, chill."
This
I'm like,
blue
nah.
shirt protects me.
I was like, "Bro," I was like, "You understand? Like, this motherfucker was doing the same shit that I was doing just a week ago, and then now he feels like he can talk to me any kind of fucking way just because he got the blue shirt on." I was like,
Calvin?
I was like, "That shit is not flying."
Whack
I was like,
arms?
"Bro, like, honestly," I was like, "I don't need this fucking job."
That's
at
exactly the point.
Because at the time, I was working there and I was working at Subway.
Yeah.
So I had two jobs. And I'm like, I'm not working two jobs just for this nigga to come and talk shit to me. I was like, I know I do my job well.
Yeah.
And you talking about like some other shit that don't even have nothing to do with the job. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face, Robert.
So it's crazy because in my my ethics class that I took in college, we actually had to do a study about how McDonald's literally builds their empire off like 14 and 15-year-old kids who just don't give a fuck. And it was basically like arguing in favor of like, do you think these people deserve higher pay and full benefits when it's like the company was built off of being like people's very first job. They never expect you to stay that long.
Yeah,
and if you do, then it's just like, oh shit, you're here?
Yeah, maybe
here's a blue shirt. You know?
Maybe you could ride it out, wear a blue shirt, and then maybe, open a store. And
exactly.
then, go from there and open a franchise.
And that's the formula for them.
If you're like me and you're getting ready to go to college and you're fucking in the back working in the kitchen with somebody who just turns into a blue shirt and they start talking shit to you, I'll lose that job real quick.
Yeah.
And then
just crazy.
What made it even worse is this motherfucker looked like Napoleon Dynamite. And he used to try to talk, and he thought he was one of those kids that was like, he wasn't like, I wouldn't say like he was like a nerdy fucking dude, but he was just one of those people that kind of tried too hard.
Yeah.
And it's like he didn't have to try that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he just had regular conversations with people but like he would try to do shit to make himself look cool.
You got a lot to kick it.
And I'm like, bro, like you don't got to do all that shit.
There's a lot of people out there like that. Yeah.
And then so once he turned into a manager, he's like, oh, I'll write you up. I was like, nigga, write me up. And after you do, stick that pen up your ass, bro. Cause
the power.
I was like, dog. But yeah, so. Yeah.
See, I never worked fast food, and I always thank God that I never had to. You know what I'm saying? The funny thing is, I was so desperate to get a job after I was done playing sports my senior year in high school. Like I applied to like Jack in the Box, Arby's. I applied all these places, and none of them fucking hired me. It pissed me off too. Like I was so fucking angry about it. Just like, what? Like y'all too good for me? Like the fuck? Like it's Arby's.
I can't drop the fries?
Yeah.
Nigga, what?
I remember me and he was a friend back then. We're not cool anymore. We don't hang out no more, but we both applied at the same place at the same time. They called him back and not me. And I was just like, what? And it's like both of us had no experience whatsoever. I was so pissed.
I remember doing that. Me and a homeboy back in the day, we went and we fucking like went and applied to jobs at the same time. Mm-hmm. And we both had interviews at Best Buy. and they called me in for the interview at Best Buy. Mind you, I just moved to San Antonio, so like I didn't have like any like dress clothes. I had like a button-up shirt, but it was like too big. And so I walked in that bitch. I felt like stupid already off the rip. And I was like, damn, I know I'm not getting this fucking job. But my homeboy was like this really just hood nigga. Like just this really hood dude. Like,
it's like
remember the episode of Atlanta?
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I was about to say, what the fuck was his name?
Fuck, I forgot
gotta
his
let
name.
him bake.
Yeah, you gotta let him bake. Nigga with the waves. He was that guy. Like the no chase policy.
That's
nigga.
exactly what I was thinking in my head too. I was
And
just
he
like,
got the fucking job.
Yeah, he finessed his way into that bitch.
He got and then like after that, like I would see him, and this nigga would have like. He would stay at a job for like a month and he would have a different one. And it's like his phone number would always change, but he would always get jobs. I'm like, nigga, how do you get jobs with like that?
It's crazy to me because we grew up in an era where it was like, don't leave a job. Don't have too many jobs on your resume because it makes you look like a job chaser.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, like I see all these things about like, oh, you should always shoot your shot at different jobs every year. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, huh? Like, I thought like the 10 years I worked in a warehouse is what helped me get a position at where I'm at now, even though it's like not the same career field, but it's just like, it's so weird now that that's so acceptable. Yeah. Like of just like constantly hopping places and shit.
And so that's why I kind of feel like now I'm just like my job experience, like I kind of wish I would have jumped around a little bit more. Maybe I would have, you know, been more suited for a different higher paying job. Instead I just kind of stuck around because I was like, damn, I know how to do this. I'm good at it.
Yeah.
They keep paying me more. Fuck it.
And that's the trap right there. It's like, fuck it. So he'll stick around. He won't ask for like a shitload more money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give me that 10-cent raise and shit.
Oh man,
you get that 10-cent raise, you're like, oh shit,
fuck.
the extra 10 cents. Oh my god.
Mine, it was 50 cent. They kept giving me like 50-cent raises, and I remember the one time I got the $1 raise. I felt like that was the shit. I was like, yo,
nigga. You tell your parents and shit.
It's like, yo, I went from 12. I make 13 an hour now.
Yeah. How many hours you working? Like 20.
It's like I feel like I'm the shit. But nah, man, it's just. Man, I had another thing in my head that I was thinking about when it came to these jobs.
Yo, shout out to the people that work like 80 plus hours though, and just be fucking grinding for a job that is. I mean, you may love it, but
we won't call it dead end, but it's not rewarding in the long run. We'll say that.
I be seeing some of the motherfuckers, and like I see them out at bars and shit, and they be talking about their work week. Cause I could overhear people's conversations sometimes when I'm DJing. Cause like where I'm at, if I don't have my monitor on, like I can kind of hear like what's in front of me, and I'll be hearing people talk about their jobs and shit, and they be talking about, yeah, so I put in like 70 hours this week, and I just be, you know, running around the kids doing this, and they sound so fucking depressed. And so when they out there having that drink, I'm like, yo, y'all need this.
I was out somewhere, I forgot where I was shopping. I was at Target. And like this girl was on her phone because you know how we like loud people in public. Yeah. But this girl was like on her phone like bitching and talking shit. And then like she got closer and closer to me, and like I actually started listening to her conversation. I was like, oh, she's a waiter. Like I immediately knew because she was just like, yeah, but he won't fucking give me the hours I need. Yeah. He's like, I need more fucking shifts. Like I worked a double yesterday, Stephanie. I can't fucking believe it. It all hit home. I was like, oh, she's a waiter. Yeah. And it's like, you know, like a waiter. Someone's a waiter because they're always so fucking angry. It's like, you know, what I'm
like on waiting.
Like yeah, they're just like that.
Oh my god, fucking foreigners.
And it's like I dated a girl who was a waiter, and she was always just angry for no fucking reason.
Mad for
like just super mad for all the reasons.
But then when you get into the industry and you see how people are, because man, I got some stories just from this past weekend. But just seeing how people are, man, it's like. Like there needs to be a course taught in like human like etiquette, you know, when it comes to like people in customer service, because a lot of times these people just they're oblivious to the fact that they're fucking annoying. Yeah. So like on Saturday, I played at Burleson, and I had this group there, and it was a birthday party, and this chick comes up to me, and she was cool, and she was like, hey, you know, can I request a song? I was like, yeah, great, got you. Ended up playing whatever, gave her a birthday shout out, all that shit. But then like, well, anytime you're a DJ and you give somebody a birthday shout out, that opens the fucking floodgates.
Pandora's box.
Then next thing you know, it's everybody's birthday. Everybody wants to hear fucking Bad Bunny. and your night is just filled with Bad Bunny requests. So, I'm playing or whatever, and the lady, like, whatever I'm playing, like, she's having a really good time. So that's out of all the bullshit up until like the end of the night, like, she had a good time. So that's all that really fucking mattered. She asked for my card. She hooked me up. She gave me a slice of cake. So, you know, shout out to that lady. But it's just like, I don't think people understand how like weird they come off sometimes whenever they, you know, when it comes to people like in those positions. So like if you're a bartender or you're a waitress or whatever, it's just like people's little like ticks for things.
Yeah.
It's just annoying sometimes. Like so somebody in her group, it wasn't really her, it was somebody in her group. They came and requested a song, and not even like 5 minutes later, came back, same shit. And they're like, well, are you going to play it yet? Are you going to do it? I'm like, look at your friend. I'm like, pay attention to the fucking room. Your friend's over there dancing her ass off, fucking waving her arms in the air. She's like, yeah, but she really likes that song. I'm like, okay, well, if she liked that song that much, she would come up and fucking request it from me. She's already talked to me. She gave me a slice of cake. We're good.
Yeah.
We have a relationship.
It's good.
It's you that wants to hear that fucking song. Stop coming up and requesting the goddamn song. So, I mean, and then, like, I played it, and this was, like, in the beginning of the night, and then she came back, and she was like, oh, so did you play? I'm like, bitch. You were dancing to it. Well, can you play it again? I'm like, oh.
It's like, bitch, I'm not your iPhone.
But me being me, since the lady was having fun, I, you know, said, let's run this shit back. So, I you know, let her get her little request in. And that was Saturday.
It would have been funny if someone, like, came up to you and was like, dude, you just played this.
Oh, Josh at Burleson, he was like, hey, I like how you played that song 2 times tonight. He's like, you never do that. And I was like, you see, you fucking know. I was like, you know. But then Sunday, this one lady, white lady, really cool, came up requesting some really interesting shit that I haven't heard in a while, and some obscure things. And I was just like, okay, that's cool, lady, but read the room. And so she like she's standing there. She's standing there for about a good 5-10 minutes, to the point where like motherfuckers that were walking by was thinking that she was with me or some shit. And then so she leaves for a minute. She comes back and she's all faded, and she's like, hey, so did you find that song? And I was like, nah, I couldn't get it. I was like, but, you know, like, let me try to see if I can get this other one. I got you. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, yeah, like, it's cool. And she puts her hand on my back, and she starts scratching my back. And she's like, oh, you like that, right? And I was just like, I was like, lady. But me, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, just, it'll pass. It'll pass. And then so she sat there, and I was thinking she would be done in like a couple of seconds. Nah, she kept that shit going for like at least like a minute. And so finally I got to a point where it was like, I kind of moved. I was like, oh shit. So,
I would be like, hey, you're weird.
So there was that lady, and then there's this other guy that comes up, and this dude, I wanted to smack him in the fucking face. I'm sorry, I'm going on like a DJ rant, but I'll get to my point in a second. So this other dude comes up, and he's an older guy, probably about like 40 something. He comes up, he's like, hey man, you got any rock music? And I'm like, hey, look around, bro. Read the room. He's like, well, yeah, can you play like some Scorpions for me? Or like,
no.
I'm like, let me see what I could do. But I was like, and I just kind of looked around. I was like, but yeah, read the room. Yeah. So he leaves and he goes back. And he's like, well, hey, when are you going to stop playing this hip hop shit? He's like, because this dude's dancing on this big girl and I don't like it. I'm like, bro, if you don't like it, don't fucking look.
Yeah.
But then, like, a couple minutes later, he comes back, and it's just, like, the shit that he was saying was so disgusting to me. Like, I really wanted to fly from behind the tables and punch him in the fucking throat. He comes back, and he's like, oh, dude, come to find out, the girl that he's dancing with isn't a girl at all. It's actually a dude. I'm like, well, dog, it's none of your fucking business.
Who cares, bro?
I was like, if you don't like what the fuck's playing and you don't like seeing people have fun, get the fuck out of my face.
Pull out your phone, find a rock bar, and go there.
Go to the rock bar, right?
You know what I'm saying?
So, and then he comes back and he's like, oh, no, I'm just fucking with you. But if you can play Scorpions, like, can play it. I was like, all right, whatever, bro.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
So he comes back again and he's like, hey, man, so when are you going to play, like, my request? He's like, I know the owner. He's like, me and the owner are cool. Like, we're friends. I'm like, I fucking know the owner, too.
Yeah,
like,
obviously.
That's how I got hired here.
Obviously.
He's like,
I would be like, oh, what's his name?
He's like, well, if he was here. Mind you, he was there.
Yeah, so he didn't know.
Mind you, the owner was there. Walked up, shook my hand, and was like, what's up, Chaku? How you doing?
Because he's always working on Saturday, too.
Did all this shit. And then so the owner's there. He's like, yeah, well, if the owner seen this, he wouldn't like all this shit going on. I'm like, bro, they highlight fucking drag shows here. What are you talking about? If a dude's dancing on another dude, let that shit ride. Mind your fucking business. It's like, I don't see why people are so invested in other people's shit. Like, just fuck off and go to a rock bar. But anyways, my point being that, like, why waitresses and people in the service industry are so fucking mad all the time is because they have to deal with dumb shit like that on a daily basis. Like, just dickheads.
And the thing about the dichotomy between waitresses and bartenders is, I mean, bartenders deal with people who are inebriated. Waitresses deal with assholes who are just, I mean, if it's a late play, if it's like a place that you work after the bar, yeah, you'll deal with drunk people who are belligerent idiots. But then it's also just people who are just in their right mind and they're still belligerent fucking idiots all the time. So,
but I always feel for like the chicks that work at like Twin Peaks and shit like that, because like I'll be sitting there and I'm not going to look at bitches in skirts. The food's actually all right there.
Yeah.
From the last time I've been there.
I've only been one time. But
unfortunately, it's just like I've seen like tables, and I mean that's why you go there. It's just to see girls
that's the business model. You know what I'm saying?
I get that, but when you have a whole table full of dudes just being fucking like douchebags, and I mean like you can compliment a woman and like do all that shit and like cool. Some chicks aren't really accepting of it, just depending on how you approach. But these niggas is just like was wild with it.
Some dudes are wild boys when they're not around their significant others, and it's them around their bros for the first time in like 5 years.
But just like the audacity of some dude, just some random dude or some chick, be like, yo, so when you gonna like put your ass cheeks all over my face, like just some wild shit. And I'm like, bro, you can get away with that?
Yeah,
like you're allowed to. You can say that and not explode? Like, what the fuck?
Yo, that was wild, my guy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Hey, and also, just remember, since it is Women's History Month, I just want to shout out. This shit right here is fire. I'm about to go back in for like cup number 3 right now, bro. And I'm just drinking it straight on the rocks. It's fucking good. Like, I don't mind the peanut butter at all. Like, it's fucking delish, commish, as I like to say. So let me go and pour this bad boy up again.
Yo, this shit gets double R like fucking crazy. Double R be acting like an asshole when he drinks Skrewball.
Really?
Yep.
Damn. I could shoot this. Probably. I can see somebody shooting this.
But yeah, with all that being said, it's just like that's why a lot of waitresses are just fucking mad all the time because they got to deal with that bullshit.
And we feel for you guys.
We feel for you.
We really do.
We understand it. We support you. All right, so interesting story. Since we have Kick Butt playing in the background. Is it Kick Butt, Kick Ass?
It says it right there.
Kick Ass, right? See, Skrewball getting to me. I went out to LA a while back and we filmed a pilot for a TV series, pretty much based off of Friday Night Tykes, and we ended up doing the Snooper Bowl and like all that shit. When we went out there, we got to meet a couple of people, and so this guy that's on the screen right here.
Oh, him?
I think his name is Kofi Narte. He actually owns a real estate group for like multi-million-dollar homes.
Oh shit!
And I ended up meeting this dude out in LA whenever I went because there was this guy from Houston that's a realtor and he does the same shit, like multi-million-dollar homes or whatever. So he's like, I want to introduce you to my friend. So he's like, just come down here and like film some stuff. And so we go and it's this dude and we go to his office and shit. And this dude's really fucking nice.
Yeah,
he's a really nice guy. So I just had to highlight that for a second. But
quick little name drop, you know.
Yeah.
Nah, you always know like random people in movies and shit like that. Like your uncle being in Scream 2 and all that shit, which is crazy as fuck.
He's doing a bunch of shit. He was like a production assistant on fucking Starship Troopers. He did he was in Never Been Kissed. That scene where she's like running through the locker room. He's in there. He was a regular.
He was one of them. It seems like he was typecast as one of those 30-year-olds playing a high schooler in the 90s.
Probably,
you know what I'm saying? Because like all them roles are just like, those are the movies that like I used to judge myself off of. Like when I was in high school, I was like, God, but I don't I just don't look like I have a 5 o'clock shadow and shit. And little did I know, it's because they were casting like 29-year-olds to play high schoolers in those high school dramas in the 90s and shit.
Like Sister. He was on that show for a while.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Damn.
He was an extra in that show for a while.
I thought he had like a recurring character or something like that. That would have been dope as shit.
I mean, his extra was recurring. Like he was part of like that, like the Jocks. He was in that little squad.
Yeah. I gotta find an episode though, because my girl, she'll put Sister on every now and then.
Yeah.
But even still, like that's a show that my sisters used to watch growing up. So
he did that, and then there's a scene in Labor Pains. It was that movie with Lindsay Lohan, and she's like pregnant or whatever. And they're in like I think it's like the Lamaze class or whatever. And he's like behind the instructor, and she's like backing it up on him and shit. And it's a long scene, and he's like in there. But yeah, it's cool seeing him on screen doing this shit. He does like stuff for like CSI. He always plays like cops and shit.
Yo, his drone skills are fucking impeccable.
Yeah, he's starting to get really good with this shit.
Anytime he posts like a shot from his drone, it's like the most breathtaking photo I've ever fucking seen. I'm just like, God damn, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, he's doing really good with that. I'm glad he started doing that shit, because he was doing photography for a while. And this fucking
saw that
scene.
nigga legs.
Yeah. Nah, he's doing photography for a minute, and I just wonder why he hasn't been doing any more like landscapes or anything like that. He's been kind of like, I guess, just doing more drone shit and camera work. So I mean, that's cool. But hopefully he gets back into that. But yeah, he's done a lot of shit. He's done a lot of cool things. So that's dope for him. I'm excited to see what he does, next with the shit. So I'm so interested in like fucking around with the drone or something like that, because it's so dope. And like I told you on a prior episode, like one of my pet peeves is watching people camp now. They like to do like solo camping and shit like that. And the crazy thing about it was, like, I always used to think like there's no way they're camping by themselves, because how are they setting up these shots of themselves driving like ahead, or them walking up a path and shit? And it took me a minute to like realize, like, oh, they probably fly the drone out in front. Yeah. And then let it land, and then they just walk past the drone, and that's how they get the shot. Because I was like, otherwise it's like they're setting up a camera and then faking the walk up. It's like the second time they've actually walked the path, and I'm just like, that's stupid. Some people do that.
Yeah.
Some people do that, but I could see that being a thing. I think there's a mode on the drone where it like hovers. I think where like you can like set it to a spot, and then it just hovers in that spot, and you can like walk by it and do all that shit. So yeah, that's probably a thing. But shout out to my uncle for all the dope drone
skate
imagery.
Yo, keep it coming. Whenever I'm on the Saucy Boys page, I always slide by whenever I see like a new post from your uncle, because that shit is dope as fuck.
Oh yeah,
I really do like it.
Man,
That's
so damn, how deep are we?
We're pretty deep in. What time is it? What's the count? Should we jump ahead or?
About like 46 minutes.
Okay, so we got time for one more topic before we get to the accoutrement.
I feel like before we run through these topics and get to this music corner, let's slide through these drinks real quick. So I'm having trouble, Mike. I'm having trouble.
What are you having trouble with? DJ?
My thing is I'm having trouble finding a new barber, and it sucks because every time I find a good barber, they end up getting even better, and then they end up getting overbooked, and then it's hard for me to like slide in there, especially with my schedule. So that's always been a thing. I've been shot plenty of references, and I go and I look at their portfolios, and I'm just not impressed.
It's nothing you want to fuck with.
With my hair type, people fuck up my shit so often, which is why I grew my hair out. Yeah, is specifically why I grew my hair out, because I was tired of getting my hair fucked up by barbers.
So in my time, because I'm new to not new to the hair growing out game. I had started in like 2016 initially or whatnot. And so like my thing was I was commuting between two cities, so I had the trust factor issues in both cities. Of like there were times where like I had shit planned on a Friday night, and it's like, man, it would really serve me for time reasons to get a cut up here in this other city. Yeah. And then go home. But it's like, I don't know nobody up here. And same thing, like I I have a basic haircut. Like all I want is either a taper or a fade around the side.
Yep.
Don't touch the top. And it's amazing how so many people can interpret that shit so many different ways and fuck your shit up.
Fuck it up.
Because I've had bad haircuts just from doing that, and I'm just like, God damn it! Like, what the fuck?
Like, hair grows back, and it's not a thing, but it just sucks because like when you get that bad cut, it just like it fuck up your whole vibe. You get mad for like a week or two.
I had a friend recommendation years ago, and this is back when I was just doing my Caesar. Way back in the day, and dude I was trying to be cool. I was trying to help out a upstart barber.
Don't tell me it was Boone.
Nah. I won't say no names on here in case they watch it or whatnot. But like I was trying to help him out, and he was like, "Yo, go to my boy. He cuts hair. He's nice." And I slid through. I think I got like 2 cuts from him. The first one was okay. The second one, motherfucker fucks up my edge up, and like real shit. Like he Nike swooshed on like one of my edges, like right here in the corner, and he let me like leave the barber without like noticing, and like I looked in his mirror and I was just like, that's kind of fucked up. And then like it wasn't until like I went and sat in my car and I was like looking in the mirror again. I was like, man, that's fucked up. And I like went back in there. I was like, yo, my guy, like we got to do something about this. And he's like, oh shit. My bad. Yeah, let's sit down. I'll hook you back up. And I was just like, nah, man. I mean, he did his best, but it's like he
still,
like yeah, he
the
like
damage has been done.
He receded my hairline like in my early 20s, and I was pissed.
I've had a dude do that shit. He was like doing like all kinds of designs and shit. For one, I asked for the shit, and then two is like when he did my edge up, he pushed my hairline so far back. Dog, no lie. Remember when niggas used to do like ghost lineup? Where they would have like their lineup and then they'd do another one around.
Yeah.
That's what my shit looked like when it was growing back.
God damn.
Like that's how far he pushed my shit back. I was so fucking mad. I was like, this shit is ridiculous.
He was like the white dude in barbershop who'd always be like cutting S's and shit. You cut like a bitch, man. That's why.
But my shit is like, it's so hard to trust like new barbers.
No,
I got one boy, my boy Charlie. He hooks it up. Like he's doing that. He went to barber college and all that shit. So like usually whenever I have time, like I go see him. But it's just so hard because like our schedules, man, like they can never line up. Like I was texting him today and he was like, "Hey man, like you working today?" I was like, "Nah, but I got the podcast." He was like, "All right, well let me know because I got this shit going on." I was just like, "All right, fuck." So it's kind of hard to line shit up. But man, I've been trying for like 2 weeks to find somebody to like just give me a little taper. That's all I need.
I know that pain too. Because I know, like, when I was doing the shit in Austin. So, I've said this before. I've been going to the same barber since I was in kindergarten. And that's super rare for a lot of people. But that's how deep the trust is. To where, like, for years, I'd sit down in the chair. I wouldn't even tell him what I wanted.
Say nothing.
He knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, like, because of college, because of, getting older and shit, going to a different city, and he went through a period of time where like he was just doing so well with like a side hustle that he was doing that he stopped cutting hair during the weekend. So like he used the weekend to do like home improvements and shit like that. So it fucked me up when I was working in Austin because it's like when I was working and going to school in Austin because it was like Monday through Friday I'm at work and in school. So it's like I can't get a haircut from him. And then he's not open on Saturday. So it forced me to find some other, like, that was when I had to, like, try and, like, trust other motherfuckers. And it's, like, after, like, trying every fucking barber in Austin and every fucking barber in San Antonio, like, I finally found, like, one person down here who was okay. And then I kept going to him for a minute. And then, like, I found out that my barber started cutting on weekends again. And then it just so happened to be around the time when COVID hit. So I stopped going to the other dude when COVID hit, and then barbers shut down. And then as soon as like we loosened the restrictions, I went back to my OG. But the one thing about him is he's very old, like, and it's getting to the point where like I have to remind him now of like what I want, and that's what worries me. And like I know he's not going to be around forever, so it's like he's gonna retirement. He's looking at retirement in the face. So I have to open myself back up. I got to leave a long-term relationship, Chaku, and trust again and go out on the market again. And I don't know what I'm going to do. So that's why I always try and keep like dudes in my back, like dudes in my back pocket who could who can chop shit up the right way. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's dudes out there, man, but it's just hard to like find.
Like I've met some pause again. I met some really cool people, dudes out there, like who like the one time I slid through for the cut, it was nice, and I was just like, yo, that was dope. But it was kind of like a convenience thing. Yeah. Like I couldn't get to my barber, so I went to them that one time, and I never went back. And it's just like, fuck. Now I feel awkward going back. Like, ew, remember me from like a year and a half ago?
Remember? It's out of convenience again, but can you give me a cut?
Remember that one cut stand we had?
But so this dude I used to go to when I first moved back to San Antonio, his name was Detail, and he was at Legends over there off Necco.
Yeah.
And man, like I would just pop in. I would get like the basic cut, but the way he would do my lineup was so fucking good, and so I would always want to go to him. And he got to a point where he was just cutting so many heads and like getting so many clients and shit that he was like he passed me off.
Damn.
He's like, hey man, he's like, I can't get to it. He's like, but my guy over here, like, he cuts real good or whatever. And so he passed me off to the homeboy. And the homeboy did really good too. And I had him for a while, and then he ended up hurting his back real bad.
Damn.
So he was kind of out the game too. So I lost him, and then so
they big lead you. I got that one time because I started fucking around with a different barber, and like he ended up getting a spot in Rolling Oaks. The barber shop upstairs.
Yeah,
he ain't there no more. He left, but like we had built like a pretty good rapport because he was like close for me on my job, and I could just slide through and get my shit cut. And like he moved to Rolling Oaks, and like I guess he big timed me. I hit him up like, yo, can I slide through for a cut? And he was like, yeah, come through. And when I get there, he hits me with, yo, man, I'm backed up. I'm like 3 hours behind, so you can chill if you want, but it's like I probably won't get to you today. And it was like a Saturday, so they close early. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go grab some food and like walk around, and then we'll see what's up. And like I did that, and I came back, and like he just wouldn't even make eye contact with me.
Damn.
Like, and it's like it was empty in that bitch too. Like he was waiting on like someone else to come. And like he just wasn't even fucking looking in my direction. I was like, all right, nigga, fuck you then. And I just got up and left.
Yeah.
Never came back.
It wasn't on no shit like that with me and homie, but it sucked because I was like, man, this nigga's like the only one that knows how to do my shit right. But yeah, it is what it is.
It's crazy.
But all right, so we're a little late in the game right now. We've been on it for a minute, so we're gonna go ahead and move into this music corner. And so what we talking about this week is a continuation of last week, is the Jeen-Yuhs documentary, and this shit is so amazing.
It is.
This documentary is so amazing.
So the first episode basically like sets the groundwork in motion of like the what was the title? Is Vision. The first episode is The Vision. The second episode was I forgot the subtitle, but it's basically the behind the scenes of how College Dropout got made. And this one like is like further into it, and it's just like.
So the thing that stood out to me the most was, I remember on a talk show or like an interview, Jamie Foxx was talking about how they were at like a party at his house, and he has a studio in like the back of his house, and how Kanye came in and was like, hey man, I want to do this song, and like so Jamie Foxx was saying that he was trying to like sing all crazy on it, and Kanye was just like, nah, like you just like do something simple, like nah, okay. And so that's when they did slow jams.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, like that's crazy to hear that, but then to see it in the part 2 of the documentary is like, oh, that shit was really true.
Yeah.
Like, and then the way Kanye went in and like got his studio time was just based off of like, okay, like he has to go to like the studio to meet such and such, and he's like, hey, can I slide in here and do this? And then like how you had Luda record that hook and shit. I'm
Luda's
like,
in the Escalade smoking and just hopped out on him.
This shit is so wild to me. Like, it was crazy.
Take it back a minute for the slow jams thing. So on the other side of that, because I just heard the Drink Champs episode with Twista, and like he told his side of the story, and he was like, it was just like when he did the track, he was like, Fox wasn't a part of it. Yeah. Because Nori was just like, I mean, like, be honest, like back then we didn't take Jamie Foxx's singing seriously. Yeah. And I completely forgot about that. Of just like, yeah, he was like, yeah, we knew he could sing, But it was like he was a comedian. He was an actor. Like nobody actually like, man, he can't put out like an album that will go like multi-platinum and shit. He ain't that good of a singer. And that's what he was like trying to say. And he was just like, he was like, what did you say when like he came to you and was like, I'm gonna put Jamie Foxx on the hook? And he's like, I didn't know. He's like, I recorded the song for me. It was just me and Kanye on it. And then like basically Kanye takes the track, and the next thing I know, he hits me up like a few weeks later. He's like, yo, you got to hear this. And he plays the version with Jamie Foxx singing the hook on it. And he was like, fuck, that's a hit. Keep it.
That shit is crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you think about that too. Like if Kanye never would have took that chance and did that, how far do you think Jamie Foxx's singing career really would have been?
I don't know.
Like that, I feel like that fucking catapulted Jamie Foxx's fucking singing career. Because then after that, on Late Registration was Gold Digger.
Yeah.
So,
but that was a sample though. Yeah. It wasn't actually. It was just actually Ray Charles' sample, but he still put him in the video because, of course, he had just did the Ray Charles biopic, which was crazy because you see that in there too.
Yeah.
Of him playing the clip, the clip of the hook for Gold Digger, like 2 years before the song ever drops,
before the shit even comes out,
to Jamie Foxx, like basically off of the success of Slow Jams, and it's just like, god damn, just to see how far like ahead the shit is, one. But then it's also setting up those alignments with other people where you get like Mos Def and Talib Kweli, and then you see John Legend in there, and then like it ends with him like, oh, this is John Legend, this is something 2004, and we're working on my album and shit. And it's just like, god damn,
that get lifted, baby.
So yeah, it's just like just seeing all that of like all these key pieces that he was surrounding himself with at that time to start building what would become good music. Mm-hmm. Even though good music is probably still just a vision for him at the time.
Yeah. So and then seeing that part with Pharrell.
Oh yeah, that too.
Pharrell has always been that fucking dude. I know I'm a huge Kanye fan, but I want to say like Pharrell's my top.
It's so crazy to think about a time. Like we mentioned this last time. It's crazy to see a world where Kanye is not a fixture in yet.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy also to see a world where Kanye is a fan getting like advice from like a hero. Mm-hmm. And so it's like Pharrell, who he holds in high regard, because it's just like, damn, Pharrell.
Because at the time they weren't in the same conversation.
No.
It was just like Pharrell was that nigga at that time. Because he was producing all kinds of shit.
That was like the whole Neptune's wave at that time. Like the Neptune's wave was like 3 years long.
And then so for like Kanye to like pop up and just kind of be like a little bashful. Yeah. And he like, it's funny like how they talk about like Kanye's confidence and shit. Like he has confidence, but you can see like moments where it's just like,
no, for real. That whole scene of him playing Through the Wire for him.
Yeah.
If that was the first time you ran into Pharrell, would you be like, yo, I got a track on me I want you to hear?
Yeah.
That's another level of confidence that you got to have in yourself, because that can go left so quick.
Yeah. And then I was
so quick,
and because I'm thinking about it too on like the in a sense of like whenever we were releasing songs and we were putting out music, it's just like, damn, if I had that same opportunity, would I have the balls to show, like if I'm in that room with Kanye, do I have the balls to show him like Steezy or tracks that I've worked on? Like I can't show this nigga this shit and not be like not be proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta I really got so. It's just one of those things, man. It's crazy to see because like being in that position is like the same thing with the All Falls Down thing. How he's showing everybody his shit and everybody's just kind of shrugging it off, and that's like one of his biggest fucking songs.
That's crazy. They just like, y'all don't fuck with All Falls Down.
All they said was like, oh, you heard what he said and then you heard that line, and then they went back to work.
But I don't know. History is full of shoulda, woulda, couldas like that, and so you got to take things in context. That's why like I don't want to like hate on the people who like looked past him in those times. Like it's understandable from their viewpoint.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows when they're in the presence of something that's gonna like blow.
But then especially at the time, it's like the shit that he was putting out, it wasn't in the same fucking like and vibe is.
It didn't sound like Rockefeller.
Yeah, it wasn't like no gangsta ass shit.
And shit, even like Dame said it. It was last episode where like he's like introducing him for a show, and he's just like, yo, when I first met him, he used to always say like, I can rap, and I was just like, yeah, whatever, nigga, get back in there and start making beats. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he just openly admitted to he's blowing this nigga off of just like, yeah, just make the beats and shut up. You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like a big thing. But the thing that I liked was just like the label put him on the shelf after the accident.
Yeah.
And wouldn't like release a budget for him to record and all that. And like you said, like he just took every avenue available to try and record and finish his album on his own time, so that I guess in his mind of like whenever they're ready to come back around, I'll be like, here it is right here. But it ended up working so well because he funded the Through the Wire video,
Through the Wire video,
that they were like, all right, fuck it, here's a budget, and now you got a release date. That's all you got to do is finish the album. So it's just like, that's so crazy to just like the belief in yourself of like that, of just like, nah, I'm gonna go forward and do this shit. Because there's so many stories out there of like people who got like, of artists who got like the big deal. Their label put them on the shelf, and then they just rolled with the punches, and then eventually they end up getting released, or the album never drops.
Like all of Diddy's artists.
Yeah. I used to say signing with Bad Boy meant you would be a one-hit wonder, because that's all he did was produce like one-hit wonders over and over and over again and shit. But I mean, hey, Diddy got the hit. Speaking of that, funny you brought that up, and it also ties into all this. You know what popped across my Twitter feed today? And people were having like an in-depth discussion about it? The original cheesecake incident from Making the Band.
Oh, yeah.
Because I and it's funny because like I hadn't seen the original thing in 20 years because the whole Dave Chappelle sketch like takes it out of my mind. But just watching it originally,
a sugar cookie, man.
Just watching that shit originally, like the whole thing of him just cussing them out, of like trying to humble them and shit and making them walk uptown to get him cheesecake. Yo, that was so fucking disrespectful. Like it's so disrespectful. And I'm just like, I forgot all about this, of like how wild it was that he went on them.
In actuality, you think about it, it was already in New York, right?
Yeah.
How long is that walk really?
Babs was like, I'm from New York. I've never walked from Manhattan to Brooklyn. Never. So he's like, no one does this, essentially.
I mean, you can take the train though, right?
Nah, he made them walk because the MTV cameras were following him.
I see. I don't remember all that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just
like,
remember them saying like, but actually, because I've been in New York, right?
Yeah.
And like just walking, because you get lost. So like, there's a lot of shit to see. So I mean, you know, before you know it, you probably in Manhattan, you probably in Brooklyn before you know it.
But just disrespect, like God.
But
like,
I get what you're saying. But at the same time, it's like all the shit that they was doing. It's like, y'all know the rule, and you dealing with Diddy.
He's like, y'all that prideful? Like, y'all got that much pride? He's like, I'm going to humble you. I need to humble you. He's like, it don't matter. I'm going to be in here making hits.
Go and give me that cheesecake.
Like, he's like, walk your ass up there. And just homeboy spazzing. Like, he started walking away, and the camera, like, zoomed in on him. They're like, yo, come back. Come back. He's like, man, fuck this nigga, man. I can't believe this shit. I was like, God damn. I really forgot about how wild this shit was.
Yeah.
Of like, damn, he's just so disrespectful.
I wonder if any of that shit was scripted.
That seemed like it was at the time where, like, before they started scripting shit.
That might have
real
been
heavy.
That might have been a little bit more real.
Because you could even see, like, that's what all the MTV's programming. There was like a certain point in like the mid 2000s where like it was just like, damn, it seems like you guys always have a fight every episode.
Yeah.
Or it seems like every preview for the next episode, something big's about to happen, but it never does.
They got to boil it up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And then that was when they like figured out the formula to bring people back. But it, like, for like the first like 7 seasons of Real World, the first like 2 seasons of Making the Band, all that shit seemed like pretty organic. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit they had. But yeah, didn't mean to get off topic there. But yeah, just seeing that shit float across, and like motherfuckers are like, you know, there's a point to be made in all this. He really did trying to teach them a lesson in life and blah blah blah. Like motherfuckers was like tweeting all that shit, and I was like, y'all niggas is stupid. Like it ain't even that deep. Like he disrespected them motherfuckers to humble them.
Yeah,
that's all it was. Like what are y'all talking about? Life lessons and shit. Walking to get cheesecake for a nigga. Get the fuck out of here.
Definitely ain't walking to get cheesecake. I'm sorry, Puff. If that nigga asked you to walk and get cheesecake now, would you do it?
No, because even as a kid, when I was really into rap and like I wanted to be a rapper, I always said I never wanted to sign with Bad Boy. Like you can ask my niggas who knew me back then.
Yeah,
like I was just like I'd never signed with Bad Boy.
Who would you sign with?
Of course, I wanted to be on Rock. Here's how I envisioned it. At the time, Lil Bow Wow was huge, and he was on So So Def, and I was like, I could be the kid rapper on Rockefeller. Now, eventually, that went to Young Steph or whoever that was. But I don't remember them ever dropping an album or whatnot. Nigga, I had my eyes on it. I was constantly checking Def Jam's website.
I'm eyeing that fucking Rockefeller chain.
And then they dropped, and then all of a sudden Def Jam South became a thing. And I was like, I live in Texas, so I'd be on Def Jam South.
This shit is going down,
like,
baby.
I was like, nigga, I was envisioning everything and shit. And I was like, that's what label I'd have to be on.
I never wanted to like get signed. I was a little scared of that. I just wanted to like make shit and just be associated and just like do shit with people. But because I mean, and back then too, it was just like you had to be signed to like really do anything. But now it's like so many people independent. I can go that route.
Yeah, independent's the route now. Like the label is almost like the dying.
Well, Ludacris was the first one that kind of like kicked that shit off, right?
Yeah,
the independent shit.
Well, now it's like. Although they're like that's like the last generation of label artists, and so it's like once they hit that limit where the label's just like, well, we can't do nothing else with you. It's like they just take their name and it's like fuck it.
But what's crazy is people don't understand is that whenever like these people get signed to these labels, like there's money that goes into like so like your signing bonus or whatever the fuck you get when you get signed, but they don't pay attention to like how much it costs to market your album, how much it costs to record your album.
So that tour you're paying for.
Yeah, so there's all this shit in there. So by the time like you even get your bonus, you got to get that shit back.
And that's how you see it's basically like a loan that you're paying off by touring and selling records.
So niggas was getting signed and they was getting these bonuses and they was out here buying chains and fucking whips and houses and shit. And then the label was like, all right, so this is how much it costs to make your album.
Yeah.
Like where the money at?
It's
and then you
up.
making like, how much was it off of like distribution? It's like 10 cents or some like crazy shit like
some
that.
Bullshit.
For like, I'm like, yo, that shit is crazy.
I forgot what it was on. I think it was on The Shop where 2 Chainz was on it, and he was like talking about it because they were like going into that, and he was like, look, you don't understand, like for a nigga like me and where I'm from, like we just wanted to get the deal.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how they get us, because it was just like, here's a deal for $1 million. We'd stick on the million and we think like we made it. And we just ink our name on that bitch and just not even think about it no more. And then 5 years down the line where it's like all you got was like $250,000 up front, your bonus, and you ain't seen no more money. Yeah. Then it's like, what the fuck's going on? And that's where you realize you signed like a slave deal or some shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of those 360 deals.
Who was that? Who was it on that interview? It wasn't. You said 2 Chainz?
Mm-hmm.
There was another one that I seen. I think it was like Mano or somebody. But he's like, nigga. He's like the most. Well, he said something about like he got like $1 million. He's like, I was so fucking happy I had $1 million. He's like, but people don't like.
I think it was Mano. Where he was like, but then I spent like
$1.
Yeah, like $1.
Like, that's $999,000. It's like it's not $1 million no more.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to think about, because like we always put it out there of like it is $1 million is a lot of money, but if you get $1 million, you got family.
Yep.
You got to take care of some family. So what are you gonna divide that to?
And then
what are the divides?
And on top of that is like your debts that you have already.
Debts you got to pay off.
Depending on if you went to school or not, and like all that shit is like by the time you spend that, you maybe buy a house. House is probably going nowadays. House probably gonna cost you like $150,000 to like $300,000. I mean,
and then that's money you got to sit on to make it to goodbye for the rest of your life. So now you got to make investments on like shit that if you make bad investments and you just shit out of luck.
Yeah, you just shit out of luck.
So it's like they said. It's like what Chris Rock said. You can lose. Being rich ain't special. You want to be wealthy. Like being rich, you can lose that with a bad drug habit over a summer.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But being wealthy, that's some shit that you can't lose with a drug habit.
Yeah, wealthy, that shit lasts.
That's motivational speaking from the Saucy boys. You know what I'm saying?
After a few glasses of Skrewball.
Skrewball, baby. Skrewball,
baby. Skrewball. But shit, on that note, we are gonna wrap up this episode. I am definitely excited for episode 3, and this is the final episode of Jeen-Yuhs. I can't wait to see where this shit goes. You know what though? I will say this to kind of like end the episode is for everybody that's not a fan of Kanye and that just hates this nigga because they think he's weird or he's an asshole. Watch the doc. And it might change your perspective a little bit because so many people shitted on this dude.
Lord forbid you find something relatable in someone you detest.
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, damn. You step back and you're like, fuck.
Like
I would have did the same thing.
Like, this nigga's really not a bad guy.
Yeah.
This nigga's really not a bad dude.
Granted, I've said my shit about him, but as long as he stays away from politics, I have no issues with. He can say all the crazy shit he wants to say, in my opinion. Yeah. Just stay the fuck away from politics.
But if you're not a Kanye fan, like, but then that too is like a lot of new Kanye fans, like since this shit has came out. So I'm excited to see where episode 3 leads to. Hopefully it's a lot of like current, like recent shit.
It looked the last preview made it seem like it was just gonna be all the shit recently. So we'll see.
We'll see how it rolls. But on that note, we'll catch y'all next episode. Y'all be safe.
Peace.
Peace.